What's up, everybody? It's Rafe West again. Haven't been on for a little bit. This video is going to be a little bit on the self-improvement side, talking a little bit about finances and the stock market, and if the stock market is really worth it. So, the stock market is not a new thing. It's been around, I think over 100 years. Stock market's been around for a while, and you know, um, as we grow up, most of us are trained into giving our money to someone, 401k, let's say. Hang on, let me turn on this light a little brighter here. Oh, giving our money to 401ks and hoping for the best. My take on that is that the only thing good about that is that you forget about it and can't get to it. They have that rule, the 59 and a half rule. You can't withdraw until you're 59 and a half without penalty. You still have to pay taxes. So we're trained to do that. And even these hedge funds and professional money managers, they can't even beat the market. So they make most of their money on fees and stuff like that. So the stock market's pretty interested and complicated. It- you know, so is it really worth it? I've heard of it said, and I even have said about it myself. It's the playground of the rich. Because in the school system they teach you all this stuff: algebra, trigonometry, calculus, and in the real world you really only need to know percents and ratios. So here I am. I mean, I'm trying to teach a little bit of my last video about it was about like self-education and is it really good. So in the real world in math you need to learn percents and ratios and try to think in numbers sometimes. I've learned to, like, when I make a list I number it like a shopping list, for example: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, instead of just having the food items. So if percents and ratios are the most important, the math works against us. When you start doing percents and ratios, that's where I think they came from. You got to have money to make money because 10% on $100 is $10, for example. So you know percents and ratios, and but I find the stock market pretty interesting. So being that it's been labeled, not from me, but being that it's been labeled the playground of the rich, should you bother to try and tackle it on your own? And I think it is worth it because um, there's a lot of ways of playing the stock market. You can bet on whether the price of a stock can go up or down and things like that. So, relative of how much money you have, it's probably still worth it. And to know a little bit about how it functions, because like I said, we're brought up in the school system. Unless you're a major in like business or maybe not even that, they don't teach you about these things. They teach you, all the other stuff. But the important thing in real life is percents and ratios. And so yeah, some people say stocks are dull. There's nothing exciting about them because there's so many other things you can trade, and park your money in, invest your money. Um, there's, futures, there's commodities, there's oil. Well, oil is a commodity. There's now cryptocurrency. Um, so is it worth it? And some people, there's a debate about this. Part of me, or part of the argument, is that it's not, because historically the stock market has returned, I think, 8 or 9% per year, and so it's not. It's hard to beat that. Anybody who tries to beat that, you got to leave that up to the geniuses, the Warren Buffetts of the world, Charlie Munger, Ray Dalio, and they have mastered it in some way, and even they lose a lot of the times, But overall, more wins than losses is the idea. So the most important math is percents and ratios, and all you guys that are in school learning all that other stuff, you have to pass it. I understand that. But in the real world, realize that that is the most important thing, understanding that. And so sometimes I think that instead of having a 401k, you're better off doing it yourself. Now, the only problem is that, like I said, a 401, you cannot take your money out, and most people don't until that 59 and a half age. And so, if you're not good with money, if you'll just blow it, see, most people, if they were to handle their own, they may just like spend it all, and we're all human. We have the temptation to do that. But so the choice is basically you either manage it yourself and run the risk of blowing it all, or giving it to someone you don't even know, trust them with it. You're not even allowed to trust and verify. I always like to trust and verify whenever I'm delegating something to someone, which in essence is what you're doing with your money. You're delegating it to someone um, to trust them, but you can't really verify your 401k money managers. I mean, you could look at your statement. I looked at mine recently, and it's lost. It's under. It lost like 3% this past year. So um, it is more exciting picking your own stocks, and there's like a few ways of analyzing stocks. I think a lot of reason why some people may not like the stock market is they realize they have to do some homework. And everybody wants the good life, but nobody wants to do the homework, and things like that. So there is some stuff to do. I'm now learning how to just look for the most important things when doing fundamental analysis. There's a few ways of analyzing a stock I've been learning is technical analysis, which is charts and patterns which purportedly predict the psychology of people. It's emotions and I'm sorry, it's emotions that run the markets, mainly fear and greed. So and then there's fundamental analysis, which I think is the best. Well, I think you need to have a few of all these three. Fundamental is looking at the actual numbers, the financial statement, the balance sheet, the income statement, things like that. And then there's story kind of investors that just go by the story of it. But that you got to be careful with because you can let your emotions run with that, right? Like, you know, oh, there was a Tesla car crash, oh no, get away from that, things like that. So there's story investing, fundamental, and technical. Okay, those are the three. And sometimes I think it's better to do it yourself than having in the 401k because here you are letting someone chart out your capital for you and praying and hoping that at whatever, first of all, if you make it there, right, 59 and a half, who knows, that you're gonna, enjoy the fruits of that labor. Whereas if you did it yourself, first of all, retirement is kind of risky, in my opinion, to even be able to do it comfortably, not to mention if you're going to make it. barring any kind of catastrophe, if your lifespan reaches. So, and doing it yourself, I think gives you a sense of power and control that you can control your own stuff. I mean, that's pretty powerful. So, if you can do it, it's not easy. Sometimes, you know, the main thing with any kind of these things, like on the channel here, I talk about, you know, my systems, for example, which have to do with money management, is how to handle losses. The same thing with the stock market. You have to be able to handle losses well. And the best way to do that is forget about them and come back another day. You know, take off, live, come back another day. But I guess the main goal of this video is the stock market worth it, or are you better off taking control? And what side are you guys on? What side are you guys on? Are you leaving it in the hands of someone else, or would you like to take full control or some control of it? I like having some control, you know, and I find it interesting, so anyway, some people I understand don't find it interesting at all. We're taught that it's complicated, the math, even though it's just percents and ratios, the math, it's complicated, it's scary, so therefore, leave it to someone else. The heck with it. I don't care. They'll do okay, So, yeah, I just wanted to know what your guys' thoughts were on that, on the markets, money in general. That's about it. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in it. Is the stock market worth it? What do you guys think? Is it worth it? Is it not? Let me know what you guys think. This is me just rambling on about it, and I'll check with you guys another time, all right? Take care. Peace.